Legendary Cars series here on NFS Heat. Yeah, we've got the McLaren F1 here off of the Black Market DLC that was released not too long ago, actually. I got this DLC from a friend of mine as a birthday present. Um, as you can see, you get a very good T-shirt of of McLaren, as you can tell by the back of my shirt. As you can see, I have a F1 GTR that I built, but this one, I am planning on buying another one, so I can show you everything that there is about this car, what I like, what I don't like, just basically the gist of what I think about this DLC. Now, it is the black market DLC. You get one car for free, and then you have to pay money to get this F1, which I honestly think is a good value. I've had a couple days to play around with it, see what I like about it. Let me turn down the volume of the car so you can actually hear me. Okay, where is audio, master volume? Let's turn that down. As you can tell, this tuned version of the F1, very nice build. Let's go buy another one, and this is gonna be a short video. But in this episode, we are also going to be doing a legendary car build from another iconic NFS game. Let's just get to the end of the game. Alright, there is a little bit of a disappointment I have. As you can tell, there is a yellow bar under each of these DLC cars. For the contracts on my Aston Martin that I have right now, I have 4 out of the 6 contracts completed, and out of the F1 I only have 2 out of the 6. But let's buy this F1. I get it for free, so let's drive this new car. Now, I haven't even tested how good this car is stock. But as you can take a look, it is a very nice car. It's a 1993, I believe. If I can remember correctly. Oh, well, that's not the way to treat a legend. Alright, so if you guys haven't been under a rock the past couple of years, in the early days of Need for Speed, in one of my personal favorite games, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2, this was the car you would be working to get. There was also a high performance model, the McLaren F1 LM, uh, which was slightly slower than the F1, but had better handling. Now, if you guys don't know about the top speed of the McLaren F1, it had a top speed of 243.1 miles an hour, which at the time of this car's release was the fastest road car ever built. But here's the thing, it still holds the top speed record for a naturally aspirated V12 manufactured by BMW. Yes, the one that made the BMW M3 GTR, which is another iconic car in this franchise. And what I'm planning on doing on this car in this episode is basically seeing how this car does stock. And I'm gonna see what it does. Hello, visitor, how are you? Um, as I said by the title, today is just going to be a overview analysis on the Black Market DLC for Need for Speed Heat, as one of the cars that you can purchase with real money, sadly, is this beautiful 1993 McLaren F1. Now, I'm still trying to figure out what the top speed is of its stock, but as I said earlier, this car still owns the top speed record for a naturally aspirated car, which this is the naturally aspirated V12 manufactured by BMW, and I've always had an infatuation with this car because it's one of my personal favorite cars, and it's right up there with the M3 GTR. But in a nutshell, this car paved the way for many supercars along its production line. And Jay Leno owns one of these cars. So, I say let's take this into a race stock, and let's see how it does. Alright. I mean, she is throwable. Almost. But she's... Then we're gonna get into a police chase with this car. Alright, let's take this stock McLaren F1 into a race. And as I've said before, the McLaren F1 has a special place in my heart, just basically because it's synonymous with the greatest McLaren models. This was the one that put McLaren on the map. The fastest production car on the planet in 1993. But now, let's see how this car does. She is going very good in the corners. Wow, she is throwable. I haven't even tested her any of these stock. Now, I want your opinion on this. What do you think I should do with this car? What kind of build should I put for this? Because I've got a track version of it, which is my F1 GTR, which I will show you in a little bit. And then I've got my just regular street racing car. I don't know what to put with this version of it. I have 3 F1s. Now, in my roleplay that I'm doing with a friend of mine, this is going to be Bull's car. As you all know, if you've played Need for Speed Most Wanted in 2005, Bull drove a Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren, which was a collaboration between, you guessed it, Mercedes-Benz and McLaren automotives. And I honestly think the SLR was undervalued, and I haven't seen it in a recent Need for Speed game. I mean, if I'm mistaken, but I really wish they would bring that car back because, as I said before, that car is way underappreciated. But one of my favorite YouTubers, Doug DeMuro, did a video with the SLR McLaren. I should suggest you check that video out. He goes over on why the SLR McLaren was kind of underappreciated. Ah, crap. I'm stuck. Yes, I'm playing on the easiest difficulty because that's the best way I can show you what the capabilities of this car is. Which I honestly think this car could very well be the greatest car ever made. Now we're going to keep with the naturally aspirated thing. We're not going to put a turbo. We're not going to put a supercharger on this. This is strictly going to be a naturally aspirated supercar. Is that you, cop? Boop.
Is in pursuit. All available units, please respond. They've gotten away control. Last seen heading westbound on Rising Sun Lane. QSL, grid by grid search authorized of Palm City Raceway. Over. Subject located. Heading westbound on Rising Sun Lane. All units, 4221 is back in pursuit.
Oh. see what she does on the highway.
No active patrol cars in pursuit. They got away control. Last seen heading westbound through Blackwood Heights. Be advised, any units in Blackwood Heights, search for wanted vehicle. Calling all vehicles matching description. All units, pursuit is in 07. We can't locate the subject. 2221 QSL. Can you show us the 59? Copy, QSL.
I mean, she likes to get sideways, which is good. Well, there she is. The beautiful McLaren F1. Now, when it comes to what I think about the DLC and the grind, I basically agree with Black Panther's, uh, which is another YouTuber that does car videos. Um, he thinks that it's good DLC, bad execution. I agree with that statement because if you're paying for a car, you should have all the customization parts unlocked from the get-go. You shouldn't have to do a grind to get the visual parts that you need. But when it comes to what I think of the car itself, pretty damn good. I'll show you all the customization options that you can do. Let's go to garage.
Oh, how'd you afford this machine? You been holding out on me? Just kidding.
Alright, so if we go to customization in the body, there's a lot to like here. You've got the McLaren F1 LM or the GTR. You got like a Speed Hunter's version of a F1 body. Then you got the F1 GTR body kit, and then you got this one that you have to complete via challenges, which is cool. But also you got really nice fender flares and everything. It's a very nice piece of attention to detail. I mean, if I'm going to get a specific build on this car, so for the McLaren F1 LM, it had a wing like this, which looks good, but let's look at the bumpers that you can choose. You have F1 GTR and just a symbol like that, which I think pushes the car out a bit. Now, if you put the rear fender flares, you can get it pushed out that far, which it's okay, but I'm going to stick with the stock bumper because I think it just looks a lot better if it's stock bumper. I'm not gonna go a big extravagant with this, but cool thing is you got a set of McLaren lights that are actually popping out of the headlight thing, the headlight housing. But I like to keep the standard look on this car. Let's go with the F1 LM build. Let's keep the standard McLaren side skirts. Which I think this looks really good. Now if you go to the hoods, there are a couple options. Let's put those as tinted. Now, let's go to the paint and wrap, and we've got to go with the LM paint scheme. It was I think it was a metallic, bright metallic orange, like this. Let's see what other options. There's satin. Let's go metallic. Save changes. Which is cool. Let's see. We got the body parts down. Now we're gonna keep the naturally aspirated feet. Alright, let's sell this. The flat 6. Sell this. Alright, so we're gonna keep, because if I were to go this route and get a dual turbocharger on that, that would just defeat the purpose. Now let's put best parts on here that I possibly can. Ultimate Plus, let's put that on there. Keep the stock thing in there. Let's go with the 5 3-pound tanks. Now we're going to go on-road suspension. Let's keep that on there just to keep it low to the ground. Elite brakes. Now we're going to put on-road tires. Put the best clutch, which is Elite Plus. And then we got an on-road differential or race diff. Would a race diff make any difference? Or let's put a track differential on it just for the sake of putting some stuff in there. No. Let's keep it like that. Let's take this out. Alright, she's quick. That's a good thing. Let's put it on some of the high-end races. Sonic first, which that is 70,000 for an. But in this episode, we are also going to be bringing out my two other McLarens that I have. You already saw one of them, but then you're going to see the other McLaren, my McLaren GTR, that has the turbochargers on it. She is one quick car. Alright, she is getting into the 200s now. Alright. Alright. Well, I think this has been a very successful episode. What better way to cap off this build than a win in one of the longest races in the game? Thank you guys for tuning in on this episode of Legendary Car Builds. I'm very privileged that I was able to have a friend buy this car for me. And just really, I have been genuinely enjoying this DLC. So what would I say about the DLC in general? What I think of this car is it's a building block to what you can do with this game. But when there's room for improvement, they usually nail it. Unless you're going through Criterion, which they can mess everything up. But I think they hit home with this. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you in the next video.